In this episode, we talk about all of the things we carry here on Balachandra that we simply just can't live without. Last time on Sailing Balachandra, we visited Castries, St. Lucia. Then we shared with you how we are able to earn an income while we cruise full-time here in the Caribbean.
If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Noelle.
And I'm Dan.
And we're Sailing Balachandra. We sail from Nova Scotia, Canada, all the way to the Caribbean and have been cruising now for a year.
That's right. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, just go below this video, look for the big red subscribe button, press that button.
The idea of this week's video came to me after a few days of just consistent blowing and our batteries just being charged up, and I was just like, you know what, I don't know what I'd do without my wind generator right now. I was so thankful. I was just like turning on the inverter every day, pretty much all day, keeping laptops charged. Didn't even have to leave the boat to go to a cafe or anything to get work done, which was awesome. So yeah, I was like, Dan, we should just do a video on what we can't live without.
It's a really good idea. We make a lot of videos for you guys about things that are related to cruising that might help you if you go cruising one day, and we definitely have never covered the things that we literally cannot do this without, like the most important items to our cruising life.
And these items like can be very small, like inexpensive things, to like very expensive things. We just listed off what we couldn't live without.
So hopefully we can make you guys a little better prepared if you plan on cruising in the Caribbean with some of the things that we can't live without, and you may find that they're important to you as well.
I love my pressure cooker. It saves me so much time in the kitchen and also saves us on propane. I prefer to cook dried beans and lentils and chickpeas from dried rather than using canned, only because I find that the texture of the bean is way more satisfactory. Also, I noticed that I'm not going through as many cans, and there's not so many cans filling up my garbage bin, which is great when you can't always get to shore to offload that garbage.
I definitely would not leave port without a can of WD-40 and a bottle of all-in-one oil on board. WD-40 can be used for a lot of things, from greasing your sail track, to protecting metal from rust, to keeping your locks working smoothly, and most importantly, to lubricate turnbuckles and other sailing equipment, which can seize or corrode in a saltwater environment. Sometimes I use all-in-one after using WD-40 as an oil to protect the metal parts I'm working with, which in a saltwater environment helps to extend their longevity and keeps them working well. Out here at sea, it's essential to keep metal components oiled, especially with outboard motors, standing rigging, and other metal items on board that need metal lubrication on a constant basis. It almost goes without saying that oils like WD-40 and all-in-one are essential and should be kept on board just about any vessel at sea. A turkey baster has many uses, but on a boat I have several uses for a turkey baster. For one, when you're cleaning the bilge, it lets you get the last few drips all the way down to the bottom. Anytime you have a small pool of water show up and you don't have enough power to run a shop vac, a turkey baster will help you get some of that water out. It was very handy in the winter when we had condensation issues, and I also use it anytime I clean out the sea strainer to lower the amount of water in the sea strainer compartment before taking out the filter. I highly recommend keeping 1 or 2 turkey basters on board. You will find them useful.
I love my bed. If you had asked me if I loved my bed 2 years ago when I first started sleeping on board, I would have said otherwise. The mattress was so thin, and now that we've replaced it with a memory foam mattress, my life is so much better. Dan's really happy I talked him into this. Now, when we bought this memory foam mattress, it didn't quite fit our bed, but it was very easy to cut off what we needed to cut off in order to make it fit.
We're definitely happier to be doing this trip with our cell phone plan, and Sprint has an international coverage on all of these Caribbean islands. And so far, at each island we've stopped at, we've had unlimited data on our Sprint plan. Mind you, it's not that fast. However, we don't need to purchase any SIM cards or local cell phone plans, and use our American Sprint phone to hotspot our internet throughout the boat using our data plan. We're very happy to have our phone in our international data plan, which is a hassle-free way to use internet here in the Caribbean. One item we definitely cannot live without is our collapsible trolley cart. We've talked about this one before on the channel, but it's definitely worth adding to this list. A lot of the essentials you'll be looking for, anything you need to collect ashore or bring with you, whether it be parts, jerry cans, water, or groceries, is much easier to transport on a trolley cart versus carrying the dead weight. We use our trolley cart pretty much any time we stop at a new port, and we find it very convenient. We would not be doing this trip without our trolley cart.
Oh my, this one's a good one. Walkie-talkies. I remember when Dan and I first started communicating with one another when it came to docking and leaving the dock and even dropping the anchor or grabbing a mooring ball. These walkie-talkies have saved us so much in anger and frustration. Before we had them, we would just constantly scream at each other, and by the end of it, our moods would have changed dramatically. These walkie-talkies are great. They're waterproof. I've actually dropped one in the drink once and it floated. It was really easy for me to retrieve it. I love that they have flashlights on them as well. Sometimes when Dan and I separate and we go to different shops or different markets, they actually have a wide range. So Dan could be on the boat and I could be on shore, and I could just radio him from shore and let him know, hey, I'm ready for you to pick me up in the dinghy, and he'd just come right over.
Originally, we carried these 4 5-gallon or 20-liter diesel jugs on deck for the long passage we had planned from Nova Scotia all the way to Bermuda, thinking we would have to add the fuel as we go in order to make good time motor sailing during a particular weather window. But now that we're in the Caribbean, we keep them full as a reserve, but more importantly, we use them to fill our boat with diesel when we go to marina. Sometimes it's easier to take these jugs in your dinghy and fill them with fuel than it is to bring the entire boat into the marina and tie up at a fuel dock. Some fuel docks are tricky to get into. We've developed a habit when buying fuel to simply fill these jugs and bring them in the dinghy back and forth to the fuel dock. We also find that the local gas stations down here typically will charge a lot less for diesel fuel than they do at the marina. If you plan to fill up your diesel at a gas station, you'll have no choice but to bring diesel jerry cans like this with you and fill them. Using these diesel jerry cans to fill our boat with diesel from a gas station has probably saved us a fair bit of money while traveling here in the Caribbean. It's always a good idea to check the price of fuel before purchasing and see if it's cheaper at the gas station. It might be. We wouldn't think about leaving port without taking our water jugs with us. We do have a rainwater collection system, but most of the time we have to go and purchase or find water ashore. If you're doing this, you're going to need some of these 20-liter or 5-gallon water jugs. We keep them strapped here on deck, and they're usually full. Here in the Caribbean, we fill them at the marinas, which costs money, but there were several places in the Bahamas where water was free, either at a public water tap somewhere in the community or someplace on shore that other cruisers may refer you to. We find the 20-liter or 5-gallon sized jug, when full of water, is just heavy enough that we can carry or put on our trolley cart, put them in the dinghy, and lift them aboard. Anything larger than 5 gallons or 20 liters would probably be too heavy to deal with. We have 2 jugs on deck, a 3rd jug down below, a collapsible water jug, and some other water containers that we fill when we go to collect water. Balachandra has about 160 liters of water storage on board, 160 liters or 40 gallons. So using jugs like this may take several trips to completely fill your boat, so the more containers you have, the less trips you'll have to make. We've shown this in previous videos, but because we consider this to be an essential item for us, here we go again. This is our water collecting system. It's just a tarp with a PVC fitting, a hose, and a couple of pipe clamps. The hose runs into our water tanks, and the tarp collects the water. It's very simple. We just got through the rainy season here in the Caribbean, and using this water collection device, we've been able to keep our tanks topped up most of the time, limiting the amount of time we've had to visit the marina to purchase water. If you decide to build one of these, make sure you buy decent tarps. A low-quality tarp will flap in the wind quite a bit and take a lot of damage from the sun. When this happens, particles from the tarp might end up in your water tanks, and also, it wears out very quickly. This is the 2nd tarp we've had since leaving Nova Scotia. I purchased this one in the USVIs, and it's very strong. Getting water at a marina costs money here in the Caribbean, so having a rainwater collection system might save you a few dollars. The water is fairly cheap, but still, it helps. And it's one less trip to a marina, especially if you're in an anchorage where there's no marinas around.
Having these 2 spare buckets on board has been very beneficial for us as well. We use it for many things. When we're out fishing, we'll fill it up with whatever we catch that day, whether it be conch or lobster or even fish. They're great to have in the dinghy. Also, after really heavy rain, the dinghy will fill up with rainwater, and we like to pump that water into these buckets and use them to clean things around the boat. It's great having that extra fresh water kicking around.
When I first brought this mini lighter plug inverter on board, I wasn't sure how much I would use it, but once we were offshore power and cruising full time, we used this little unit constantly. This mini lighter plug inverter is from Xantex, the same company who makes our inverter and inverter controller. This little box is fantastic. We can use it day or night, and it doesn't have a large drain on our batteries. During the day, it's powerful enough to charge a laptop, but light enough that you can charge just about anything else, like an electric razor or the battery for our Nikon DSLR camera. On one end, it's simply just a lighter plug, and on the other, a typical 115 household receptacle. What we love about this mini inverter is that we're able to charge a single item anytime without running our main inverter, which would draw down the batteries significantly.
We love our Fanny Pack, and it's just great to have this small compact bag that we can just easily throw around our shoulder and just walk around with. We use it for keys and wallets and lately face masks, and it's nice not to have a big bag or backpack with us at all times when it's not necessary.
One of the last things I added to the boat before leaving Nova Scotia was this USB charging port at our nav station. We're constantly using this charging port to charge our phones, to charge our tablet, or anything else that charges via USB, and there's a lot of things that charge with a USB these days. There's always something plugged into our USB charge station, and we love having it. If you don't already have a USB charge station on your boat, I recommend you get one if you're planning to cruise full time. We love our little handheld water pump. We use this mainly to pump the water out of our dinghy when it rains. But sometimes we pump the water out of our dinghy into a bucket and keep it on deck. That water becomes spare fresh water we can use when washing things, watering plants, scrubbing the deck, rinsing our feet, and lots of other uses. And it means we don't have to use up the precious water in our drinking water tanks. Sometimes we throw the handheld water pump in the dinghy with us in case it rains. It's a lot faster to pump out our dinghy using this handheld water pump. We definitely would not be traveling without our handheld water pump. Don't go cruising full time on a yacht without taking a good multimeter along with you. I use this multimeter a lot, probably once a week, maybe more. Whenever anything goes wrong with something electrical on your boat, or if you're installing any new equipment or testing an instrument, having a decent multimeter that can check DC voltage, current, and ohms readings is going to be your best friend. I think I would be lost without my multimeter, and if something happened to this one, I would have to replace it immediately.
We have quite a few hanging nets here on Balachandra. We really enjoy having the extra storage to hang our fruits and vegetables, and I like that they're constantly there in our face so that we don't forget what needs to be eaten, and we can keep an eye on them and monitor them and ensure that they're not starting to go off. I've also noticed that depending on the vegetable and fruit, that usually their shelf life has expanded because they are getting the proper airflow that they need.
We've mentioned our Android tablet several times in other videos. Our Android tablet is an essential item for us, for sure. Not only is it our chart plotter, in the evening when your laptop dies and it's too dark outside for the solar panels to run your inverter, we can use our Android tablet to watch movies, which charges on very low power.
I am very happy to have Lazy Jacks. When Dan and I had first started sailing, every time it came to bringing down the main, it was just a pure headache. I complained enough that Dan finally suggested that we'd install some Lazy Jacks, and ever since then, life has been so much easier. We don't have to deal with having to figure out all the folds and, you know, compacting it just right. The Lazy Jacks do most of the work for you. I strongly suggest if you do not have those Lazy Jacks, get them installed.
Our wind generator is definitely an essential item. Our solar panels are our main source of power here on the boat. They charge our batteries each day unless it's cloudy, but we find the wind generator is an excellent supplement. On a breezy day, it can keep the batteries charged, and sometimes on very windy days, it can actually charge the batteries full, just like the solar panels normally do on sunny days. We try to look after our wind generator and turn it off when it's a little bit too windy. When we see gusts above 25 knots, I always turn off the wind generator. Each night when the sun goes down, the wind generator usually takes over and keeps our batteries topped up through the night so that in the morning our power hasn't taken too much of a hit and is ready to go even before the sun comes up. There's no way we could go cruising without solar panels. Solar panels are the one key item that keep our batteries charged every day. Our wind generator helps, but it does not have enough capacity to charge all of our batteries. On good solar days, our solar panels will charge our batteries just like being plugged into shore power. It will top them right off and allow us to turn down the fridge temperature or run our inverter to charge our laptops, use power tools, run a toaster, or even heat water. There's no way we could cruise and live aboard full time without our solar panels.
We have tons of face cloths here on board. This is only half the amount that we usually have in the cupboard. The other half are dirty right now. We use them to just wash ourselves down. It helps us save in water when it comes to bath time. They exfoliate our skin and help clean off all those dead skin cells. So I suggest that you go out and just buy a little extra. They don't take up that much space in the cupboard.
The number one most important essential item we have on board this boat is our head torch. The head torch is a must-have item. Really, do not go cruising without a head torch. We use our head torch literally every single day. Whether it's going on deck to check when you hear a noise, or hoisting your dinghy at night, driving your dinghy at night, fixing something on board, when you're sailing at night and you need hands-free action on deck, but also be able to see. A head torch is the only way to get this done. Make sure if you're buying a head torch that you get one that has the option to show a red light for night vision. And also, if you can find one that is rechargeable, it'll save on batteries and be a lot more convenient. Our head torch is rechargeable and we keep it charged up all the time. We also have a second head torch that we keep on board as a backup because we know how important a head torch really is.
Oh, I just remembered one. Our mosquito net.
Oh no.
I forgot to tell you guys about the mosquito net.
Yeah, well.
We don't use it all the time, mind you, but when we are anchored close to shore and it is a calm night, the mosquitoes will find their way into your boat, and this mosquito net is awesome.
No, that's right. We have nets that cover all of our port lights that came with the boat, and we also have this mosquito net that Noelle ordered, that the kind that you put over your bed. And we have one, we throw it over the Dodger, and it keeps any bugs from coming down the gangway, so we can leave the gangway open.
Yeah, I just got it on eBay. It was probably $10.
Yeah, we've been in some anchorages where the mosquitoes are insane. It's needed. Oh, bug repellent.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Bug repellent. The mosquitoes here are relentless.
It's true. And some of them carry like dengue fever and malaria and all the serious diseases that are mosquito borne. So you want to make sure that you have bug spray and
Tiger Balm. Tiger Balm as afterbite will save you so much. It helps instantly. Tiger Balm.
Yeah.
Pack Tiger Balm.
But it's a real threat, so prepare for mosquitoes. So that's the end of this week's video about the items that we carry on board that we consider to be essential for our cruising here in the Caribbean.
Hope you found this helpful for your future cruising plans.
We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this week's video, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button.
Or you can leave a like or comment below. And if you haven't checked out our Patreon page, it's always a good time to do so. Patreon's a place where you can give back if you like the videos we make and you want to support us. Thanks. See you later.